Good evening, FI founders. My name is Karaki. I've been asked to share some of my experiences with you on vision. As an innovator and entrepreneur, I sometimes get visions 8 times a day. Other times, I could go for days and nothing would pop in my head. It's not rocket science. It's simply the ability to receive different streams of information about a problem or an issue, and under the guise of making the whole thing more efficient, which we call insight, I come up with several solutions, and that's the innovation. I have to take all those solutions, go through them, I have to keep an open mind because there's all kinds of other possibilities as well. But at the end of the process, I select a solution, or maybe two, based on its perceived success of delivering the right outcomes, which is implementation. So I could have 15 different solutions, but the one that's I think is going to be most successful, and it's the one I can actually do. In other words, get rid of the pipe dreams, get down to the real stuff. And it's because an idea is just an idea, and it's worth actually nothing until it actually happens, and the market that you have identified buys into it, validates it. There's your impact. Let me give you an example. Long-term clean energy storage, which is the ability to store surplus amounts of energy. So in the case of renewables, solar, wind, or in the case of the grid, electrical. Because when the sun stops shining or the wind stops blowing, you have to figure out a way to keep the energy going to the users. They're paying for energy, and so just because the sun stops shining and you have solar, you still have to provide. So energy storage is actually the key. A whole complete solar system is useless unless you have energy storage. Over 90% of the grids in the world use large banks of deep cycle batteries. We're talking huge amounts of batteries, warehouses full, or diesel generators to supply energy when the grid can't generate power. So obviously we can't, we've got to find some clean alternatives. Diesel generators, the cost of diesel, it's not sustainable. You just can't do it. It'd be like running your car for 24 hours a day. And deep cycle batteries are also not ideal because deep cycle batteries use chemicals, and when the chemicals interact, that's where they can store energy. But they can overheat from all that activity and the chemicals and explode. So they are actually not the solution. They're a problem. And don't forget, every 5 years or whatever, we now have to get rid of batteries. And so can you imagine this next month coming up, apparently we will have to get rid of 200,000 deep cycle batteries. What are you going to do with 200,000? Where are you going to do? You're going to throw them in the ocean? You're going to bury them? What? So batteries are not good. So then I had to innovate, had to come up with something which was non-chemical, so I not have the battery issue. It has to be affordable, cost-effective. It has to store energy. You have to be able to release it onto demand and sustain it for long periods of time. 3 hours is not enough. Sometimes we need days. So And to convert all of that into something that works, I had to use something. I had to use something non-chemical. And in fact, there's not many choices when you get down to it. There's only two, which are the natural resources. One is water, which is the kind of obvious one because hydro uses water. The water goes from the high part to the low part, hits the turbine, generates electricity. But, as you all know, we are running out of water. Yes, Africa, of course, is a dry country, and besides running out of water, we just don't have any water. A hydro dam is also very, very expensive. We're talking billions. And nobody wants to invest into something like that, especially if there's not going to be any water, so it would be a total waste of money. And of course, we can't use fossil fuels. We can't keep on using coal and oil because that's why we're in the problem and the issues that we are now. They're the cause that our planet is dying because of all this fossil fuel. So that leaves me with air. And I think, how the hell is that going to happen? So I got some engineers together. We got our startup garage, and I said, listen, whatever ideas you can come up with, this is the problem. We need a solution. After a lot of KFCs for these engineers, they created a super compressor. And the idea came from one of the engineer's daughter's birthday party. The kids were blowing up balloons and then holding the balloon to the plastic mill to make it turn, the windmill. And so the engineers were thinking, gee, that air has energy. So if a dam can do it with water, why can't we do that with air? So they went to work. They built this super compressor. It looked like a turbine engine. And we're ready to test. Of course, there was load shedding, so we had to go and rob the solar panels from the house, put it on the roof, connect to the compressor, boom, start to turn. So now as the compressor turns, we take it through a 7-stage filter. We clean the air, get rid of the dust, the micropollutants, all the things that are not supposed to be in the air. We take them out, the pollutants. And once we remove that from the air, we then compress it into high pressure tanks, like scuba tanks on steroids. It's heavy and they're strong, and you can compress lots of air into their special tanks. And this is my favorite part because we've had hundreds of engineers come through and look at this thing because they can't believe it. So we go through this, we come to this point. Excuse me, they look at me and start laughing and say, yeah, well, there's a bunch of tanks of air, so what? I said, fine, what's this? Click on the remote, the air comes out of the first tank. And I say first tank because we can put as many tanks as we want. We have 200 or 300, doesn't matter, to the compressor. We can have all these tanks because some people will need more power. And so the air, we release the air from the first cylinder, it goes back to the compressor, to the turbine, and turns it in the opposite direction and generates electricity. The lights go on, the pumps start pumping. So we have successfully taken solar or wind energy, converted that air into electricity. Our efficiency rate is almost 75%, 74 point, the highest in the world. Solar panels, they'd be lucky if they hit 20%. After all that, the panels are actually very poor. But we're 74, 75%. But my time is finished. I'm going to have to leave you. But let me just close with this. So our vision, I'll go back to vision, was to solve the problem of the long-term clean energy. For grids, we needed to provide lengthy power. We need to buy clean, no chemicals, all that type of thing. And as a result, we have done that. We are now the leading clean tech company in the world to do this. But when we compressed the air, we were freaking out because there was just water. Everywhere there was water. I'm not talking drops, I'm talking hundreds of liters of water pouring out of the machine. We stopped the machine, we took the water, we took it to the lab. The guy said, where did you get this water? It's the cleanest we've ever seen. I said, we got it from the air. Yeah, all right, he says. He looks at me. Yeah, okay, whatever. So the bottom line is, on the water, we can generate 500 liters to 400,000 liters of clean water every day from the air. We actually take it from the air, we compress it, and we squeeze the water out of the air. So all this talk about no water, we've been there, we've done that, we've solved that issue. Africa having no water for us is non-existent. But as a result, we are also now the number one water check company in the world because we can generate water, connect our machine up to a solar panel, put it in the middle, anywhere. As long as the humidity is right, doesn't matter where it is, we can generate water. Generate a little, we can generate a lot, we just add more tanks, whatever, and we generate water, clean water. So let's just wrap up quickly. I'm getting the evil look here. So first, figure out your purpose. The sooner you do that, is the better, because otherwise you're going to be going down a road which you don't know or you're not passionate about. And that is a startup killer. If you're not passionate about something, you don't know what you're doing, you're probably not going to make it. But once you have your purpose, then that's top of mind. My mind is save the world or help the world. Then certain paths and doors, which are driven by necessity and problems, will come up, they'll present themselves. And this is where the vision and the innovation cars, the vehicles, will come up and start you on your journey. So, vision coupled with purpose is your compass. If you don't have that compass, you'll be spinning your wheels. Thank you, everybody. Good luck. I'm booked on office hours, so we can talk more. You'll probably be seeing me quite a bit. I have a whole bunch more of innovations and things to help you with, your branding and everything else. Thank you, and good luck.